Talis strode into the lecture hall. The hall was fuller than normal, but that was expected for this topic. She stood behind the lectern. After the murmuring in the room died off, Talis spoke clearly to everyone else. I see we have some new faces in the room today. This is the course on interspecies cultures and on better understanding them. This course is especially useful if you are interested in diplomatic or tourism work. It is also useful if you are interested in interacting with many different species. If you do find today's material interesting, we suggest you sign up for the class the next time it is offered. Talis grinned to herself. Every time this course was offered, the lecture hall would be packed when we got to this topic. Every time they would get students who would sign up for this course when it was offered. It was the perfect bait. Now, I am sure most of you are already aware of who we are discussing today. Humans. Talis paused as a murmur of excitement moved through the room. The few human students leaned forwards, interested to hear her interpretation of them. The first few times she gave this lecture, she was worried about how the humans would take it, but at the end of the lecture, they offered her pictures and small trinkets to help with her next lecture. While humans may seem like a strange and unusual species, they are generally only wondering about 5 questions. Today we will go through these 5 questions and get a better understanding of humans through them. Talis looked around the room, pleased to see the students' eyes. Even the humans' eyes gleamed with curiosity. Talis clicked a button in her hand, and above her appeared the first question, large enough for all the students to see it. Talis spoke it out loud as the students read it. Can I pet it? Many of the students looked confused at this, but the humans seemed to understand it right away. Talis spoke. I am sure many of you have heard stories or rumours of humans interacting with dangerous plants and animals, sometimes with dire consequences. Well, many of those stories are true. To illustrate this point, I would like to show you all one of these beasts. Talis clicked the button again, and a hologram of the beast appeared. A few of the aliens tried to jump back, while many more of them took up a defensive pose. On the other hand, a few of the humans cooed at the beast. As you can see, this beast almost comes up to my hip, but would be somewhere between the knees and hip for most humans. It has 4 legs and is quite suited for chasing down prey. And it would be chasing down prey. If you look at its teeth, you will quickly realize this animal is a carnivore. It would easily be able to take me down. Talis had the holographic beast move around the room to let the students more closely examine it. Several of the humans tried to pet it, much to the disbelief of the other students. This beast is known as a dog, and is a relatively common companion to humans that they frequently pet. Talis clicked the slide to show a picture of one of the human students had provided her. It showed her snuggled between 2 large dogs. Here you can see one of your classmates with 2 of these beasts when she was young. Many of the students turned to look at her, while the human nudged her alien companion and whispered something to her. Most likely the dogs' names, which were Rocco and Max, and how incredibly cuddly they were. Her alien companion just stared at her in a whole new light. A student's hand shot into the air, and Talis pointed to them. These dogs, while ferocious appearing, are domesticated. Is this really a concern? The student asked. Talis smiled and tapped a couple of times on the projector controller. Several newspaper articles appeared in the air above Talis. That is a good question. In my experience, you should not be especially concerned about dogs, and only mildly concerned with any animal the humans consider a pet. But the humans are willing to pet almost anything. Each of these articles is a case of a human being injured petting an apex predator on their home world. Another example, Talis said, as she showed another article in the air, is the time a group of human explorers went and petted a Toragas, which are better known as the world dominators. It is also important to note that the desire to pet is not just limited to living things. They will also pet robots or inanimate objects. An example of this is a human that was found petting a 5 terawatt fusion reactor that had been powering their ship. The reason the human gave, and this is a quote, is that it had done a good job. Talis let this sink in before having the next question appear in the air. So, one of the questions humans usually ask is, can I pet it? The next question we will go through is, can I eat it? The students weren't quite as surprised at this one, as it is common to check if some food will harm another species. However, the students didn't quite understand, and so Talis continued. Unlike most species, where the question is asking if it will hurt them, humans are only asking if it will kill them or permanently and severely injure them. It is important to note the words severely and permanently, but I will get into that later. Talis clicked the button, and a few holograms of some human foods appeared. The first example I will be giving here is fugu, which is a raw fish dish. If incorrectly prepared, this dish is deadly to humans, but it is still highly sought after. It is also not too rare for it to be prepared incorrectly and have deadly effects. The humans were now looking a bit more concerned and confused. Talis continued. It is more important to note that many of them enjoy eating things that are harmful to them. One example is the pineapple. It is relatively acidic and will slowly dissolve the human's teeth. It also has an enzyme that breaks down certain proteins, which includes some of the proteins in the human mouth. In a way, the pineapple is eating them as they eat it. Talis paused as she let the students consider this. Another food to note here are chili peppers. These fruits have evolved a chemical that binds with the pain receptors of certain animals. This adaptation made it more likely to be consumed by birds, which help to spread their seeds. Importantly, humans are not birds and have the pain receptors that the chemicals bind to, and yet they still use these peppers in many of their dishes, even artificially breeding peppers with more of this chemical. One of the human students spoke up here. It gives the dish a bit of a kick. Talis smiled. As you can see, humans do enjoy this kind of food, and if one is preparing meals for them, it would be good to get their input in these cases. The humans have different tolerances for the amount of kick they enjoy in a dish. We find it important to discuss ethanol here. Ethanol is a poison to humans, but some humans enjoy consuming it. There are a variety of ethanol beverages, but we strongly recommend not providing it in large quantities. Several of the students nodded in agreement, as a few of the humans tried to avoid eye contact. They had obviously experienced a human who had consumed too much ethanol. The main thing to keep in mind when answering the question, "Can I eat it?" is that the human will frequently want to try the food, if it does not grievously injure them or is fatal. Talis moved on with the next question. Can I keep it? This is a common question for many races, so we won't be focusing too much on it. The important thing to keep in mind is that humans are willing to keep much more dangerous things. This was seen early when we looked at the pets humans are willing to keep, but it also extends to non-living things. A clear example of this is a human that had an antimatter bomb sitting in their living room. When they asked how they got it, the human told them, "Finders keepers." Another human phrase that might help to understand this is, "One man's garbage is another man's treasure," or in this case, one species' planet-destroying weapon is a human's living room decoration. There was a bit of a chuckle from a few students, while several other students jotted down a note to themselves, including a few of the humans. Now, the next question is a bit more obscene but important. Can I hump it? Or to put it in more familiar terms, can I fuck it? There was an outbreak of whispers as Talis finished the sentence. Several of the humans blushed and looked down, but a few of them purposely made eye contact with another student, and closed and opened one eye. A move known as winking, and commonly used when courting. Talis continued when the whispers had died down. Now, the humans are more promiscuous than most other species, however, it is not required to reciprocate. They also have large differences in their personal preferences, so one human may be interested while another human will not be. There have even been cases involving inanimate objects, so human tastes are very broad. If you are fine with it, you can go along with their courting. If you're interested in one of them, you can even court them, or, as the human would say, hit on them. Many of the aliens looked embarrassed, but a few were considering it. At least one of the winking humans had already gotten a positive reply. Talis had to speak a bit louder as many students were whispering. The fifth question may also be a bit disturbing to some of you, but it is not as bad as it seems. The question is, can I kill it? The previous excitement died down quickly, and even the humans look solemn here. Talis continued. The question is generally trying to understand if they can kill, not if they will kill. It may be quite disturbing to have them plotting your or someone else's death, but they generally do not want to kill. They will plan it through, and it was one of the reasons they have been so successful in any wars they have been dragged into. And I do say dragged into because they have generally avoided violence. While their plans to kill may be discomforting, I would like to remind everyone of the Zorbog aggression. Talis paused and let the students remember this event. As you all remember, the Zorbog moved to eradicate the forest species. It was only the humans that moved quick enough to stop the Zorbog advance, and saved an untold number of Forost. This was only possible because of the plans they had already made. Talis then had all 5 questions appear above her. So, when interacting with a human, it is these 5 questions that you should keep in mind and try to answer. They may be asking about any of these questions in no particular order, but these are the general things they are wondering about. Now, the humans may still seem strange to you, but that isn't unexpected. They can be the worst of enemies or the best of allies. A lover more enriching than anything else, or a nemesis more vexing than anything else. They can be both infuriating and enlightening at once. I would suggest you view each human individually, and they will almost certainly view you in the same manner. You may even find out that other species near you were more diverse than you originally thought. It is one of the things that these strange beings have made us realize about our views. The students sat in silence, ruminating on the idea. Talis broke the silence. Well, that is all for today. Next class we will go into a bit more detail on humans, focusing on things to be avoided, which are mostly things that are lethal to them. Everyone's homework is to find an article on something a human has done that you found interesting and intriguing. Write a few paragraphs and your thoughts about it. Extra credit will be given to the student who finds the most interesting article. Guidebooks on humans do not count. We would like to note that not everything in those guidebooks should be trusted. even if it was produced by humanity.